Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tasteless giving you another Stormgate cast here on my YouTube. This is TheoRy versus Albino. TheoRy down here in the bottom left as Infernal. Albino over here is Vanguard in the top right. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section what you think about games like this. We've got a lot more content we're going to be cranking out here regarding Stormgate. And right now we're casting the very best players on the ladder who are generous enough to give me their replays. So thank you again, TheoRy, for hooking me up with this. And also, you should check out his stream. He streams on Twitch. Excellent StarCraft 2 player, and now one of the very best Stormgate players that there is. We see this opening a lot from Vanguard, where they're going to send the initial dog out here to harass the imps. In case you're wondering, this is post-patch. So the dog rushes are a little bit weaker, but already, this is actually pretty bad. I think 100% he's going to get the imp. Oh! I don't know what he just built here, but he did manage to actually not let that imp go down. And so that's a pretty decent save here. For the time being, that the dog is going to continue to harass. Back over at home here, it looked like it was going to be a fast command post build. It is. There it is. That's going to be sent out. Remember that with the new patch, you can't get the Bob boost on a command center or command post, excuse me, that's just started building. So we had to send that back and do that over there. We've got one brute that's come out. So this was actually an Iron Vault first opening with a brute to scout. The brute is in some ways better than everything else that you could find in this matchup early on, but it's also slow and not very nimble. That was actually a cancel structure. I thought it might have been a meat farm, but instead it was just a tower just in enough time to basically allow that imp to not die. That's canceled. That is sent back over here to make the greater shrine. The brute's going to come in here and scout, and it seems like once you saw that there were not more dogs coming, that was enough to telegraph to TheoRy that actually this is going to be fast expand. So this is going to be a bit of a punish. We don't normally get to have games where we see the Infernal actually coming in and attacking the Vanguard. The Vanguard's defenses are generally considered a little bit more robust. It's a little bit harder to try to penetrate, but here we are. This Brute's doing a lot of damage. The dog is coming back. The dog, by the way, not good at fighting the Brute head-to-head. The Lancer can hang. The Lancer combined with the rest of this should be able to do the job. Meanwhile, there's actually a tower being made down here. This is wild. Yes, the Bob can repair the dog. But while this Brute's running around over here, this is causing a lot of damage. I think he might be able to just barely not get the kill on the dog. Well, hold on. He's going to split the Brute into fiends. He's going to come down here, try to corner that dog. He does get the kill. But I think this rush is going to backfire because this is a Lancer tower. Lancer towers are extremely strong. Yes, this tower is going to slow down mining from the Bobs over here. They're going to have to move in a bit of an arc. Meanwhile, we have another Brute that's going to be coming up here now. The expansion is done back at home. Tech is staying the same. There is no, what is the thing that makes the gaunts? I can't remember. So it's just a vault tech here. And you can see, actually, it's continuing to do quite a bit of damage. This is not going to be enough. A Conclave, by the way. That's the building I was thinking of. Sorry, this game is still new to me. He's actually going to get one kill on a Bob, but I mean, the tower rush has basically failed. He did force the Vanguard to make a lot of buildings in, a reaction to what was thrown at him. Now these Brutes can actually come up here into the natural, so this is pretty wild. This area, and he's actually going to just refund these right now and use that extra money to try to help defend. We've got the Brutes continuing to fight these Lancers. And, the Bobs are in trouble. Yes, the Bobs do get that buff from the command post, but that doesn't last forever. So when you've used that up, you got to wait a while, and that means that these Brutes are going to be especially strong. It looks like our one weaker Brute might get cornered over here. We've got the Bob buff coming out here. It's always better in a moment like this to just let the Bobs, use up their time. They're not mining for the time being. Really, just only mining over here. We've got one Lancer getting pretty low. I think, it actually does get killed off. Very nicely done. More Lancers are coming out, but you can see, these Brutes, they don't actually travel that fast across the map. They're not quick units. So it's really hard to reinforce this rush the way that we're seeing it right now. 2 brutes and a fiend remain. Fiends are just not good versus lancers, by the way. The lancers beat the dogs, they beat the fiends. The brutes have a little bit more beefiness to them. There's a 3rd base being taken over here. This is the pretty typical location to expand to on the map. We do have a hedgehog out as well, slowly chipping away at this brute. He is going to just split these into fiends. Nice body block over here. Well, hold on. He actually doesn't quite get it. Another lancer goes down. I think this one lancer should be tough enough that it just survives. And so here we are. Things are going to quiet down, at least for now. 9 fiends over here mining Luminite. 10 over here in the main. 5 workers mining ore back here. And I mean, it's crazy how quickly Vanguard can just go right back into production. The same thing with Infernal. You know, neither the Lancers or the Brutes are that fast. So, you know, as the rushes die down, you can see that both sides are really able to develop an economy and continue to focus here. In fact, we've got another imp on the map over here now. Now, the hedgehogs are a little bit more nimble. They're a little bit quicker. They're a little bit easier to cart around the map. They are quite good at targeting these gaunts. The gaunts are always the Achilles heel of the Infernal army early on. With a tower over here, another tower over here, everything is pretty well protected. I don't think there's going to be any real harass over here inside the structural area of the map. Instead, it's going to be... Is he going to try to expand over here? We just keep seeing imps moving around here. So some players are expanding down to this part of the map. We see that's a common thing with Vanguard. It seems like it makes a little bit more sense for Infernal to maybe stick on the left side. Since you get the space over here, a lot of times your rally points are around here. And so this is a base that, I guess it's close and you could take it. There are trees behind it, so you could be pushed by Atlases or dropped or harassed in some way. But it's a little bit more of a... map present position to be on. The thing is, if you're not equipped with enough units, you would just die to a rush, I would imagine. So let's take a look at what's going on here for Vanguard. We're really seeing the production kick in. And there's going to be a lot more barracks coming down. From what I have learned about the game so far, it does seem like there are moments where you want to come out with Lancers on the map and try to push. And so that would tell me that we're going to have a lot of towers up here to defend. Not just here, but also here as well. We do have a Doombringer, and I think it's a Brute and Gaunts, if I had to guess. And so he's going to go for a drop. Now, this makes a lot of sense, since you can already see the 4th base is coming down. The easiest way to keep a new base safe is to try to cause a distraction somewhere else on the map. So he's going to be moving through here. Almost, well, full saturation over here. By the way, it does seem like he's taking some workers off when he gets to 10. This does seem to be a technique that's currently in use. The 10 may be a little bit better than 12. The game says 10 out of 12. But if you could have 10 workers everywhere, instead of like 12 on one base and 8 on another, that would be more optimal, if that makes sense. Here comes that drop in the main. I don't really see a lot of defense. By the way, there's going to be serious Hornet play coming in here. So this is, as much as it is a drop, it is also a really big scout. And so we immediately see a pickup over here. I don't think he can get out. Hedgehog's not even going to be used to try to fight there. He does actually manage to kill that Doombringer off. Now, Gaunts, they can fight Hornets, but if they're in low enough numbers, the Hornets can just pick them off. One of the big plays in the meta now is to use the shield ability. It's a lot like the StarCraft 1 defense matrix, only it's a global ability. And it gives you a lot of shields, which makes a Hornet really safe if it's, you know, if it maybe could take a fight, but it would be dicey. Suddenly it's 100% going to be a win for it. Now, the spread here for the Shroud Towers is pretty good. So I don't know that the Hornets can do that much. You can really see, by the way, how good the Hornets are when controlled correctly. The Gaunt count keeps getting reset. And so when you have this many structures able to produce Hornets, it's a problem. It's a real problem. Because there's just, you know, if you can't get that number of Gaunts out ever, the Hornets are just going to dominate the map. Albino is now expanding over here to the top left. So the 4th base is going to be there as well. We're getting a lot of tension built up over here on the left side of the map. Looks like this base is going to finish. Luminite's going to start to pour in. Lots of Hornets out right now. Pretty healthy mix of units, by the way. Lancers, Hedgehogs, Vulcans. And again, you know, it just seems like the Hornet number is enough that it can keep sniping these Gaunts. It's really impressive. And then, you know, the Hornets can basically ignore the towers. If you don't have towers covering everything, then, you know, the Hornets don't have to respect your defenses. So this is funny. They're both expanding towards each other. This base has already been taken here. This base is, I mean, it's about to be up and running. I don't know if either side is aware the other one is next door. So looking back here, we've got a lot more barracks coming out. I mean, production's really kicked in right now here for Albino. He's looking really good. A pretty barren right side of the map, by the way. Not even this base has been taken over here. And now let's look at the tech. We're starting to get Weavers into the game. I see Imps moving with this army, or no, they're actually going to be making defenses over here. You know, one thing about late game is that generally, especially if you're dealing with armies that are like, you know, let's say high Lancer composition as an example, you want to use those Imps and let them detonate on top of their Lancers or Exos or anything like that. Kind of like Banelings. I think a little bit more nuanced than a Baneling. You have to activate them at the right time. They don't stay lit for very long. And they're not as fast as Banes as well. And so tension's going to continue to build up over here. I got to say, TheoRy's really good at just throwing these towers down here, these Shroud Stones. Nice harpooning. We see those med techs getting pulled in by the Weaver. Now, there's a lot of Vulcans over in this position. I don't think that TheoRy can actually fight this. And I think there is literally no unit slower than the Weaver. And it's the way its body ragdolls always cracks me up. We did have some Shadow Flyers come in there and connect onto those Hornets. Again, I'm really curious which units does he want to harpoon here. It's always the med techs. Very interesting. But the Lancers, I mean, there seems to be a lot of meat here. A lot more Weavers are coming up, and that means he can then pull these Vulcans over here. The Vulcans are nowhere near as good if they're surrounded, so this is pretty smart. Oh, is he gonna get it? Yeah, he gets it. Okay, I feel like I'm learning something, because I didn't realize that this would make sense versus Vulcans. I usually just die when they make Vulcans. But then again, I don't make that many Weavers here, so... He's going to continue to move up here. It looks like some of the Weavers are stuck. Another harpoon over here onto the Vulcan, and the Vulcan not being able to take advantage of that meat shield of the Lancers is going to be punished. The problem with Weavers, though, is that once you're in too deep, you're never going to get back out. There is no escape plan for Weavers. So another nice harpoon move in there. Shadow Flyers are connecting beautifully over here onto these Hornets. And look at this, it is just Weavers versus Lancers. This is such a funny-looking fight. It seems like the Weavers are just beefy enough that they have enough sustain to drive this back, and that's what's going to happen here. The Shadow Flyers are coming in there, some of them connecting on top of that. We're seeing the continuation of this attempted hold here by Albino. He does have Exos, but he never really got that that critical mass that allows him to kind of hang on and take a fight. Now, again, you got to be careful on both sides, because it's not that easy for the Infernals to advance either. I mean, look at this. Imagine retreating with this when you don't have enough. You could lose the entire game. It looks like we're going to have another dive over here from Albino. And, I mean, things are just going to continue to build up here. He's going to try to go over here a little bit further north. Another great grab on that Vulcan. This is so good. If he can get the two med techs and the Vulcan in the back, I think this army is going to be just too flimsy, frankly. Another nice pull in there. Med techs getting beaten down. We see that shield ability being used here on the med tech. And ultimately, Albino actually holds this position. This is really nice. It's one of the things you got to be careful not to overextend with Infernals. At least right now in this iteration of the game, they just seem to be a bit slower. And speed in an RTS game is huge. Meanwhile, this base has been taken. Sorry, I didn't mention that earlier. This base has been taken as well. Okay, Hornets continuing to chip away at this kind of uncomfortable position here for TheoRy. I mean, this many Weavers is scary. We have some Shadow Flyers coming here as well, connecting on top of those Hornets. But, I mean, they're not exactly all moving in unison, right? Like, some are in the front, some are in the back. We've got a Hellborn over here chucking some of these projectiles. His head's been upgraded. We are in the new version of the patch. So the Hellborn is a bit more of a potent unit in fights, where I think it was, you know, sort of unremarkable in earlier iterations of the game. The dragon's making me cough. Sorry. The dragon's going to come out here. And, I mean, he's now going to be able to just spread the infest. Oh, the dragon is immediately shot down here by the Hornets. No respect shown there. Been a little bit scared here for TheoRy. These are a lot of really expensive Weavers that are just going to get bled off here in this no man's land in between this base over here and then the natural entrance over here for Albino. And now there's going to be some opportunities on the map. Quickly and steadily, we're going to see Albino come through her and cut down this really important position. Keep in mind, these resources are really what are allowing the income available to make that many Weavers. So, like, losing that is pretty huge. So he shuts that down. The way the ebb and flow on the map is going to work is as that base was falling, this one was taken over here, leaving us only one unclaimed base down here in the bottom right. Clearly, by the way, in TheoRy's territory. But you don't get the resources from it until you actually take it, of course. And I'm curious with the Weaver play here, is it possible for the Vanguard to just kind of play a positional game where you never really engage with the Weavers? We've got another push out here on the map. So much of this map has just been fought in this northern position over on the western side. And so he's going to back out again. Now, with this much of an income here, I mean, you could still keep the Weaver production up. So it's an interesting mix of Gaunts, Weavers, some Brutes, and then Shadow Flyers. And I think the Shadow Flyers are literally only there to take out the Hornets. Now, as we see a push out here from Infernal, I mean, I think this is really a good positional play from Albino, as he's just going to come through here and wipe out this really important base. And so now both sides are just going to have to start taking each other out base-wise. I don't think there's a way that you go back home and try to defend. Maybe we see a push here from TheoRy up into the main. But then, I mean, what can you really do to hold this either? I mean, I guess this isn't the most impressive army, right? Keep in mind that you could use a whole bunch of imps to basically wipe out, you know, an infantry army. There's definitely enough imps that there's going to be opportunity after opportunity organically in the game for that to happen. This base is going to fall. This base should be mined out, like, literally any second, as will this base be. But over here, this is still okay. This is probably a very resource-rich base. It's actually only had 6 workers on it. So I think things are fine. These bases that are just generally hard to ever keep are wiped out on both sides. And so he's going to go ahead and back up. The health camp is going to be taken. Keep in mind, the health camp actually heals your army in this game, unlike in earlier iterations where it, you know, almost didn't do anything. And so we're going to see a push in over here, attempting to go for these weaker Weavers on the outside. There's a lot of Shadow Flyers over here. It looks like some of them are going to get targeted. Weavers are going to pull in these med techs or exos, whatever you can get your hands on. Big infest is going to come down here. It looks like it's actually not dodged, although I guess it's mostly on Hornets, so we can try to keep those in the back. And you can see there's this little bit of a dogfight going on here between the Shadow Flyers and the Hornets. He needs to get into a position. Oh, he overextended. He just got totally jebaited into the exos. This is a crazy game now. Now, he's got to be careful, though. The Gaunts, they can still put up a fight. The Weavers are trying to tank, but it just doesn't seem like we're in a world where there's ever enough to deal with the number of Exos that are out here. And we're starting to rapidly see the damage snowball. The Exos are just beginning to really take this fight. Oh my god. This is wild. This was so high tech here from TheoRy. But I mean, he lost so many important units. I'm just seeing Gaunts, and yeah, that's going to be it. TheoRy leaves the game. That is insane. Unable to, yeah, get the right composition to deal with this. It didn't seem like he was able to get Imsin to ever deal with the Exos. I think this fight over here was one probably not worth taking. Maybe better to fall back into towers over here. It's interesting, though, to see how TheoRy is approaching this, and you know, if TheoRy will stay with this type of play style in the future. This was a lot of Weavers being used. We did see some moments of success, but ultimately it was a push away. You know, TheoRy decided to go over here and hit this base. The bases were traded out, but at the end of the day, it does seem like this composition, at least with these two players in this game that we saw, I know that we're still learning a lot here, and everybody's rapidly improving, but this did seem to be a composition that could beat what TheoRy had. Anyways, thank you for watching that. Please like and subscribe. That helps this video get out to other people who would be interested in seeing it. So I really appreciate that. Leave a comment, if you would, in the comments section. Go to tastelessthreads.com. That's my merch site. We've got a whole bunch of fun stuff I think you would enjoy. And check out my Twitch stream, Tasteless TV, where you can join me, where I cast these games live with my community. Have a good one.